Hello, fellow managers and leaders, and welcome to another episode of The Weekly Dose, a weekly series where we talk about topics related to management, leadership, meetings, and productivity. Getting constructive feedback from your team, especially feedback that might be hard to hear or that you don't necessarily agree with, can be tough. But if you want yourself, your team, and your company to thrive, you need to set the example on how to receive feedback gracefully. In a book called Thanks for the Feedback, The Science and Art of Receiving Feedback Well, authors Douglas Stone and Sheila Heen wrote, "Nothing affects the learning culture of an organization more than the skill with which its executive team receives feedback." And feedback-seeking behavior, as it's called in the research literature, has been linked to higher job satisfaction, greater creativity on the job, faster adaptation in new organizations or roles, and lower turnover. And seeking out negative feedback is actually associated with higher performance ratings. But how exactly should you receive constructive feedback at work? And how can you graciously accept feedback and make your team feel heard, understood, and respected, even if their feedback doesn't completely resonate with you? So I'm going to talk about 3 tips to help you receive feedback effectively and foster a feedback culture across your entire team. Step 1, choose the right time. So the first step in effectively receiving constructive feedback from your team starts well before the actual feedback conversation. The timing of when you ask for feedback is so key if you want to get honest, helpful feedback from your team, and if you want to be in the best place to receive that feedback. When it comes to accepting feedback in a constructive way, timing is literally everything. So for example, it may be more challenging for you to accept that challenging feedback or feedback you don't agree with if you schedule that conversation right before lunch. Maybe you're a little hangry, or right before a big presentation when you're completely stressed out. By scheduling your feedback conversations during the time of day when you feel you're most focused, present, and open, you'll be in a much better place to receive feedback even if you don't agree with it. Step 2 is to control and visualize your reactions to constructive criticism. The definition of effectively receiving feedback is ensuring that your employees feel heard, acknowledged, and respected, regardless of how you feel about what they're saying. That can be easier said than done, especially when you consider more unconscious or involuntary reactions to hearing something that may feel uncomfortable or challenging. And those reactions, maybe a frown, eye roll, standoffish posture, arms crossed, can really discourage your team from being honest and open with their feedback. So this is why, if you really want to effectively receive your team's feedback at the moment, you need to identify what your unconscious or involuntary reactions are and keep them under control. I know that sounds difficult. One way that you can do this, though, is to stand in front of a mirror and visualize yourself receiving negative feedback. Maybe it's about your management skills or something that happened at work. Pay attention to what happens to your face and your body. Do you start to scowl? Do your shoulders tense up? What's your posture like? And if visualization is a challenge for you, you can also ask another person, maybe even your own manager, to role play with you and act like an employee delivering critical feedback. Recognizing how you involuntarily react to negative or challenging feedback can really help you be more aware of those reactions, and I promise it'll help you control those reactions when you're actually talking to an employee. Step number 3 is to make your teammates feel understood. So feedback can be really tricky. Maybe your employee might be saying one thing, but you're hearing another. And when that kind of misunderstanding happens, it's honestly a lose-lose. You don't get the feedback you need to improve, your team member doesn't feel like their feedback made an impact, which will discourage them from sharing feedback with you in the future. That's why one of the most important parts of effectively receiving feedback is making sure that you're crystal clear on what your team member is saying and that they walk away from your conversation feeling like their feedback and insights were understood. So, for example, let's say an employee tells you that they struggle with your tendency to micromanage their projects. You might say something along the lines of, "So what I'm hearing is that you feel like I overstep my boundaries and get too involved in the day-to-day tasks of your ongoing projects. Maybe moving forward, you would like me to take more of a step back and allow you to have more autonomy in your work. Does that sound about right?" By rephrasing your employees' feedback in your own words, you're really showing them that what they said registered with you, and by asking them if you got it right, you're opening the door for them to clarify anything that you might have missed. So these are 3 of our top tips to help you receive feedback more positively, but we actually have 2 additional tips over on our blog. You can click on the link below this video if you're here on YouTube to learn more about what to do if you get feedback that you don't agree with, and the single most important part of receiving constructive feedback. So those 2 things are over on the blog. I'd also love to invite you to our upcoming live event on how to give and get feedback. It's happening on September 16th at noon Eastern. To register, simply visit our website, click on resources, or click the link in the description below this video. So that's it for this week's episode of The Weekly Dose. Stay tuned for next week's video where we'll chat about another topic on management, meetings, or productivity. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.